Hello, Chattanooga.
Hey, Chattanooga, Tennessee. Cornerstone Apostolic Church. Footnotes, another session, podcast from our church family to yours. We do hope that you'll enjoy.
I'm Sam Hodem.
And I'm Raymond Sloan. We are your guest, and we're thankful that you are joining with us in this podcast. One more time, we want to spend a few moments with you, whether you're driving down the road listening or at home or in your office. We thank you for allowing us to spend time with you. Sam, what is Footnotes exactly?
Hey, Footnotes it's a podcast where we just sit and review and talk through the sermon from the prior Sunday. So, if somebody really messed up, I'm just kidding. We don't do that, right?
Not critiquing.
Yeah. We just dig into it, try and understand the essence of it.
And try to help others to understand also. Now, we are referencing, of course, this past Sunday message, which happened to be Mother's Day. Yeah, what a wonderful time. Mother's Day is always a very powerful and very important time, right?
Yeah.
In the church world. And we are honored tonight to sit and talk to you just a little bit about motherhood and such. The topic, the title.
And all of our years of experience in motherhood.
Yes, of which I have very none.
Yeah.
The title of his message, though, was very important. It was Influences.
Yeah.
Influences. Knowing that, Sam, what is influence?
So,
what does that mean to you?
Brother Dan, he opened with the power of the tongue, life or death. I know when James, in the book of James, when he was talking about it, he talked about it being the most unruly member. Right?
Yeah.
I wished I could remember the poem that Brother Dan had.
Yeah,
it was really good.
Very fitting, but to once again talk about influence, it was so good we forgot it.
Yeah, well, it was just,
Not really sure if that's a good way to look at it, but we feel like that influence is something, of course. The power of the tongue, which he spent some time on, is very, very important for all of us.
Yeah.
To know that we can say or not say something and really make somebody's day or maybe hurt or harm their day. And that's not what we want to do. Sam, help me out here real quick. Who was somebody that influenced you growing up, let's say?
Yeah. Well, as he was preaching, he was talking about it. This past weekend, I had the opportunity to go, and my wife and we went and we sat with my grandparents, just visited with them for a full day, and just kind of hung out. The 50-plus years of ministry that they've had. But that's ministry, but then that's also raising in ministry, and then those are two different things, but somehow or another they're weaved together.
Silly question. Mm-hmm. Do they still influence you today?
Absolutely.
Wow, what a powerful... Think about the power then of influence. Now, it may not be as much now as your formative years, but it may be more now, just in a more needed aspect of life. I don't think as parents, as coaches, as teachers, as preachers, I don't think we really ever grow out of the ability to influence someone.
I don't think so.
Or to be influenced.
No.
I mean, there's always something out there that's driving people, parents, grandparents, family members. We interact, we connect with each other, and relationships allow us to always receive or to spend time with the influences that people are giving us in our lives. One of the things Dan mentioned, I don't want to pass over, Sam, is the power and the influence of prayer.
Ooh, yeah.
How does that affect like your life? You mentioned your grandparents. Were they prayer warriors?
Absolutely. Like my grandma, I feel like she could just go fight hell single-handedly,
Yeah.
And I'm sure yours. I've heard you talk about your granny before. And
Same thing, man. I'm prayer warriors. They laid up in store a whole lot of prayers for, I know, for me and for you, and probably many of you have the same kind of testimonies of influences that prayer warriors, people in your life had. I even had prayer warriors that I wasn't really connected to maybe as family, but they just felt the need to pray for, to influence in the spirit world. And by just interceding and spending time talking to the Lord about me or my situation or my family. I do believe, Sam, that children are the product of the influences that they've received. You agree?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't have children, so I can't dig into that and speak from a lot of experience there. But I do have some people that I have invested in, some younger men.
Certainly.
And I don't think I understood the importance of the prayers that were prayed for me until I started praying for them.
Oh, full circle.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's true.
I
And now you get it.
yeah.
It makes a little more sense.
Yeah. Looking at the dumb decisions they make, and I'm like, God.
Yeah, can we do something here?
Yeah.
You mentioned you spending time with your grandparents this past weekend. I too was able to be with our family on Mother's Day, and I have a grandchild, a granddaughter, 8 months old. Man, the influence of people on her. You do your lips a certain way, and she sees it, and she does it. She repeats it. You move your hand, clap, do what you do as grandparents do, and acting a fool in front of their grandbabies, and they just instantly mimic that. The influence is incredible. Also, for knowing when you lift your hands in church and worship, she's watching, and I looked over, and her hands were up. I guess the point is that as babies, the brain development is something that the formulation of the bonding between relationships and people, and how much influence a mother has, or father, or siblings, or grandparents, whoever it is, has on that child. That is a process that happens, and you know, it doesn't take long to figure out that a lot of learning happens in the first few years of a child's life. Agree?
Yeah, those mirror neurons.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
But that shapes them.
Yeah.
For basically the rest of their lives, and
Gives them a pattern of behavior.
That's right. That's true. And you know, I think the influence that you might have, or your grandparents or whomever may have had in your life, you're now demonstrating that to others, and others, as you mentioned, those young people that you had an influence in. Now they're giving that to someone else. A question, if I may: how much time does it really take to influence someone?
I don't know, but I do think time is part of the currency of influence.
Yeah.
I do think it does play into it. Like you, at least, and maybe it comes from the value of the time. So,
Okay.
or the intentionality of the time.
Gotcha.
So maybe a passerby can still have a huge impact, even though in just somebody passing by in your life.
Yeah.
But it's at the right time. It's with the right intention.
Yeah. Timing matters. Yeah, I agree. And with the right intent, so forth. Yeah, that's a good point. I think that influences can be seen in so many areas of our lives.
Yeah.
So many stories we can read. There's one new Old Testament that's Dan brought out in his message about Moses. An incredible story. If you don't know that, I challenge you, go into your Old Testament and do some research. Yeah. He was born into probably one of the worst situations in the world around. I mean, they were killing babies, literally.
Yeah, literally.
And his mother, Moses' mother, birthed him and had to keep him quiet for months until she could no longer, the story says. And so she came up with a plan.
Yeah.
Put him in a basket, put him down the river. Sister watched him, and lo and behold, Pharaoh, the leader of the world at that time, his daughter's out by the water's edge, and she removes the basket, and in there is Moses. Now, I'm certain that Moses' mother really was simply hoping and praying that the baby would survive, right?
Yeah.
But there was already an influence that she had in him.
She'd already invested.
That's right. And then, of course, if you read the story, the mother then is hired by the daughter of Pharaoh to raise Moses. Now, he has his roots, if you will, from where he was born, but then he has also the education he learned because of Egypt.
Yeah.
But there came a time, Sam, that he had to make a decision, and thanks, if you will, that he made the decision that says, I would rather suffer with my people than to do what is contrary to that.
And if I can, I'll back up just a little bit. Jochebed, right? It's probably not a. Everybody says new names or old names are in vogue,
Right?
in fashion. I hadn't heard anybody name their child Jochebed.
True. No takers on that.
No. If you do, just let me know. Shoot us an email.
Great name indeed.
But she was intentional.
Without a doubt.
I look at it, you look at it and kind of when we learn the story initially
All right.
in Sunday school.
Yeah.
Because we're kids. We're just learning just the basic stories.
Sure.
We don't quite understand the intentionality that she put into that.
Right.
Of where the Nile has got crocodiles in it.
That's true. Not a safe place.
They were, if someone else had found the baby, they would have killed it.
Yep.
So she had to put Moses in an ark.
Right.
And that's probably a type and a shadow of
true.
something else there. And then his sister had to just so happen to maybe
Right place.
push it in the right direction.
Yeah.
And the influence that the house of Pharaoh, because the New Testament, I believe, says that he was learned in all the wisdom
Oh, that's right.
and the ways of the Egyptians.
Right.
That allowed him to take a tribe or tribes and mold them into a nation.
Yeah, true.
And lead them into a promise that God had
Simply because of the influences in
Yeah.
his life. Now, it does not say how long that his mother raised him and taught him. There would have had to come a time that he would have been separated from her and he would be able to take care of himself, and then he would be placed under teachers and instructors. So therein, it might have been just a short window. Let's call it a few years, however long. But with that said, though, it was enough influence
Yeah.
that it literally changed the world. I want to echo, if I may, what Dan said this past Sunday in his message, in that mothers have a huge influence on their children.
Yeah.
A huge investment that mothers make in that. And I want you to know that moms out there, the next generation can be formed with your words, with your influences. You can help the next generation. It might be that you may not have the greatest past, or your life's been a mess.
Yeah.
But an influence into the next generation can actually change things.
Makes all the difference.
Yeah. What the power of influence.
How to stop that
Yeah.
that bad influence,
Right.
and make it good influence.
Right. I want to, if I may, interject here. I want to thank all the mothers, grandmothers.
Yeah.
Again, it was Mother's Day, and I want to thank all of you for your investment in prayer and in believing in your children, even though you have no real guarantees of how they'll turn out. But you can pray, you can influence them, and that's what we're talking about tonight, is the power of the tongue to be able to speak positive things.
Yeah.
Also, the power of prayer to be able to pray positive things and influence children. But read to us, Sam, if you would, out of the book of Proverbs. There's a verse here that I think is very important.
So Proverbs 22:6 says,
Okay.
"Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it."
One more time. Listen to this verse. It's very, very important.
So train up a child in the way he should go. When he is old, he will not depart from it.
Train the child
Yeah.
in what is the good, the way he should go.
Yeah.
That it doesn't say how long it takes, doesn't say how many words are required, doesn't say what material. It simply says to train in the way you should go.
Yeah.
And then there's a guarantee almost here. There's a pause in the literature here that says when he's old.
He will not depart.
Okay, so I took some time to look into this just so I could, and it's part of my makeup or whatever. I want to understand, why was the word train up a child? Why that translation came through the King James Version. And so catechize was actually the reference here. And basically, when you catechize something, it is to instruct systematically, especially by questions, answers, explanations, and corrections. So when the instruction came from the wise guy in Proverbs,
So it's more than just train.
it's more than just say, do this, do that, don't do this, don't do that.
Yeah.
It's an actual relationship interaction. Let me ask you a question, son. Why does this? Or son, the child says, Dad, why is this? Or Mom, what is that? And so when we train up a child, we are investing in them and taking the time to influence them. Wow. Name somebody in your life, Sam, that influenced you, that allowed you the time to ask questions, to get answers, and vice versa.
So, like, when I was a kid, just like every other kid, I had the question why all the time.
True. Most
and
of us do.
One of the best things I think that my father ever did for me, he never said stop asking why. And it drives me to this day.
Yeah.
If I don't understand something, I'll go ask, and I don't care who it is.
Right.
Hey, why is this? And I don't mean it in a disrespectful way, because it wasn't even presented in that way for me. I didn't realize that could be a disrespectful thing to ask.
Right. Yeah, because I know that some too are intimidated.
Yeah.
Because they may not know how a rocket works or how a star twinkles. I don't know, or a plant grows. That's not the point. The point is, we can positively influence.
Yeah.
With questions, answers, systematically,
Intentionally, systematically.
Great word. We can explain.
Yeah.
And not be afraid to correct when needed.
Yeah.
I think many times, if I may, Sam, many times we get this whole thing that correction needs to be the key, and that's
what we start with.
Yeah, that's true. And don't ask me that, or that's a dumb question. And the fact remains is that the only way we're going to learn is by the positive influence that comes into our lives. So to close this out, what is a way, Sam, that we can better influence people around us?
So Dan offered us 5 points.
Okay.
He said he was talking about the transition from teenage to actual young adult.
Right.
And one of the number one influencer in that was the family table.
Wow. True.
Like if someone had family supper together 5 out of 7 nights.
Yeah.
As simple as that is, as hard as it is.
Right. True.
Then they were more likely to retain that relationship.
Wow.
With God and with parents. And
right. Wow, that's positive. That's and again, in our culture today, it may be a great challenge, but the whole word here, if I may, influence has got to be intentional many times.
I think I heard one man put it this way. He used, people a lot to say, raise your kids. Mm-hmm. He was like, no, the Bible says train your kids.
Right.
And I think the raise kind of seems passive.
True. That's true.
We look at it passively. And maybe we do that in other things.
Yeah.
In how we think we should influence or be influenced. Right. But it's intentional.
That's right. You gotta just let the system work, let it move forward. And I think therein, if I may, the prayer will connect what you do, what you can't do, your fallacies, your shortcomings. Prayer can help push that into the next, in the next level where God can actually take the influence and positively impact the next generation. We bring this to a close. Sam, let everybody know about us, who we are, how to get in touch with us.
All right, guys, if you go to cachattanooga.org, you'll find our website. You'll find ways to send us an email, shoot us a call. If you have
Prayer
questions,
request.
prayer request, if you have needs, we're the church.
Yeah.
And we believe in being an active church,
Right.
part of being the body of Christ. So go check us out. Let us know if you have anything, any questions, any comments, any things you feel like you need answered.
That's right.
That'll give us an opportunity to do a different podcast. So
True. Also, on the startup and the ending screen, there's a QR code. You're welcome to scan that, and it'll drop you in there as well. We appreciate all you joining with us. We're honored that you have. Until next time, we'll gather one more time next week, and we'll talk about it again.
all right. Thank you guys
Thanks.
so much. I think we got to come up with lyrics. Are you going to sing it?
You got to stop it. It's still going. Will we have to edit this?